Hello and welcome to our series on owning and operating a speed radar feedback sign. This is part 2 of the series in which we're going to go through the assembly and mounting of your sign on various posts, poles or trailers depending on what you're using. Part 1 of the series was on boxing the sign, and I suggest if you've not watched it, you go back and watch that, as there is important information to prevent damage to your sign. So with that said, let's get started. What we have here are the items in your box. A few of them we're going to put to one side for now because you don't need. You're not going to need your Bluetooth stick. You're not going to need the wall charger. You're not going to need one of the sets of keys. Now, those keys you can put aside for now. They open your sign, but we don't need to go into that right now. The rest of the parts are all mounting components. We may not use them right now, but we will run through what they are for. So starting with the universal bracket and Colby.
So this bracket is actually 2 different parts. This front part mounts to the pole and to any post that you would want to put it on. This back part mounts to the back of the sign. Luke and I will turn the sign around to show you where it mounts. You can see there are 4 holes here on the back through which you connect to the back of this bracket.
In the box there is a small bag which has 4 screws and a utility bit with it. These are the screws which will fit these holes, so they are already provided for you there. You don't have to have special screws on hand.
Thank you, Luke. Now to separate the 2 parts of the bracket, the set of keys that you did keep out is going to fit right into here. You'll take it and open it up, and then once you have that out, you'll be able to disconnect the 2 parts from each other. So for now, let's put this one aside.
On the mounting plate, when you're putting it on the back of the sign, the lock faces the bottom of the sign. So it goes that way up on the sign. This is so that when you're sliding the 2 pieces together, when you're putting the sign out in the field, your lock's at the bottom and the sign is not going to fall off.
Thank you, Luke.
Okay. We just lift the sign down so we've got a bit more room for the brackets. Okay, so for mounting the solar panel, we have the solar panel mount here. This is actually 5 separate pieces at the moment. You have 2 arms, look like this. You have 2 90-degree elbows with quarter turns cut in them. And you have a back plate. So when this is going on a post or pole, this plate will be going in this direction if I was the pole, so fixing in there. To put this together, again, screws and bolts have all been provided in the bags. Need a few of these. Shoulders go in first. You're placing them so that these slots line up with the holes. The quarter turns should both go in the same direction so that you can adjust the angle the panels at. So place the bolt through from the back. Make sure you have a washer on it. I realise this is standard when you're using bolts, but let's make sure everyone's going at the same pace. Feeding it through the slot. Again, a washer on, and then there is a lock washer. Let's see what so I'm going to have to put this up so that you can see what I'm doing. At this point, do not tighten the bolt all the way. You are going to need to adjust these to fit your solar panel exactly as you go ahead. I would say at this point you don't need any tools, but when you've got this aligned with your solar panel, you will need a couple of wrenches to tighten it up. You're going to tighten it so that it holds in place, and you're going to repeat the process for both sides. Okay, so with the elbow in place but not tight, you're going to take the arm. You are going to be placing the screws through the holes. You're not looking at these slots yet. They are going to go onto your solar panel. So the arm feeds in, so going straight up, you're at the top of the arc with one, with the upper one, and the lower one is feeding into the bottom. So let's go. When putting the bolts through, you have a bolt with a washer on one side. Make sure you've gone through the hole. Then you are placing the large washer. You have a lock washer, which is a ring with a split in it. Goes over the top of that. And then your nut. The point of the lock washer is once it's all tight, that holds it tight. It stops it from loosening up just through vibration. Again, you don't need to tighten these all the way at the moment, just enough to hold this arm. So if we turn our solar panel upside down, on each side of the solar panel we have two slotted holes. Right, so we're going to line our arms up with those holes. Okay, once you have both elbows and both arms on, you're ready to line it up with the solar panel. I would say the direction of the bolts through the arms and the pieces doesn't matter. One way is as good as another, it's your personal preference. So you've not yet tightened any of these bolts up fully. The reason for that is as you place this on the solar panel, you're going to find the chances are that it does not line up fully with the holes to begin with. You can then adjust your spacing to make sure everything matches up. Once it's matched up, tighten all the bolts to hold it in place. That's as far as you're going in your workshop, office, wherever you're putting this together. The following parts would happen out in the field. So note, this bracket is not yet connected to the solar panel. That is because it makes it easier to place up on your pole or post as a separate item. So when you get to the field, what are you doing? You're starting with the universal plate, the part that you've not connected to the sign. There is a slot in the bottom which is where the lock goes in, so the plate goes this way up. So you can see you have a number of slots, slits, holes, whatever. These are for attaching to whatever you're attaching to. In your bags, you have two large nut bolt combinations. If you're attaching to a slotted post, take the nut off, obviously, pick a hole to slide through, other way around, and then bolt it that way. Chances are you're not going to be putting on a slotted post because under MUTCD rules, if you're in an urban area, the bottom of this sign needs to be 7 foot off the ground. To make it easier for you, the bottom of this sign will be level with the bottom of this plate. So that should be 7 foot from the ground on whatever you're mounting it on. If you're mounting it on a trailer, that rule does not apply because people do not walk under trailers. So, depending on what you're mounting on, you will find either pipe clamps, possibly bigger than the ones they provided to go around your post, or putting lag screws through holes to attach it. Before you attach it, make sure you have the permission of whoever owns that pole or post to put this sign up on it. So if it is a utility pole, you need permission from the utility owner, whether it's CMP, Bangor Hydro, Fairpoint, it doesn't matter, you need their permission before you mount anything on their posts. With this in place, you can put the rest of the sign up. The sign will be already attached to this plate, as we've explained. Can you just hold this for me, Colby?
Of course.
You're going to need to move your fingers out of the way. So this will just slide into place over the plate, and then you are locking the bottom to make sure that people can't lift your sign off and take it away.
And one note about the mounting bracket is if you want to put the sign in multiple places, but you don't want to have to remount it on multiple poles, you can buy as many of the bracket as you need to. Because all of these are standard, you won't have to mount anything else on the back of the sign. You can just pick it up and move it from mount to mount so that you don't have to do all of the maintenance throughout the entire time of owning the sign.
A sign loses its effectiveness if it's left in a place for more than 2 weeks, so you're going to be wanting to move them about every 2 weeks anyway. For mounting the solar panel, unfortunately, well, you probably can buy more brackets if you feel it's necessary, but either way it's going to be a bit more difficult than the mounting plate. You are taking your bracket, you are going above your sign on the post, and as I said previously, this back beam you're attaching to your post. And I should have tightened that arm up, sorry about that. So you want to attach it with the arms out straight, if you can just hold that. So again, you are either lag screwing or using pipe clamps to hold this in place. Once it's up and it's tight, I'd suggest trying to wiggle it, make sure it's tight before you do the next step. You then bring the solar panel up and you're going to lay it on top of this. That way, the solar panel is in a stable place as you drop bolts through these slotted holes and onto the arms. Then, once they're in, tighten them up, you're good to go. I would suggest if there's any trees around or you're expecting any kind of blowing weather, tilt the arms down and then tighten them at an angle. So anything that falls on it is just going to slide off and your solar panel will keep working at peak efficiency.
So thank you for watching our video 2 of our series, Assembling and Mounting the Sign. Our next video will be connecting to the sign. Thanks again for watching.